السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على النبي الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين يا رب العالمين. Dear brothers and sisters, inshallah, today I'll be talking on the legal and ethical aspects in wealth management. As we know that wealth management and the wealth advisor or the financial advisors or the wealth managers, they play a very important role of trust. As we know that the wealth managers, they may handle a big amount of wealth of their clients, so they hold a very importance that they must manage the wealth well on behalf of their clients, on behalf of the beneficiaries. So, and we have seen in the past there are many cases where uh, the financial advisors, they cheated with their clients. Even the companies, they have cheated with their clients. So in this chapter, inshallah, we'll talk about how the issues first, and then the duties and the responsibilities of the wealth managers or the financial advisors, and the related laws and some of the standards set by the association. So first, we'll talk about the fiduciary duty. That this is a duty of trust. So, in order to understand the fiduciary duty, what is it? We need to go back to the basic theory of this agent and principal problem. As we know, in the finance world or in the modern day business, all the big corporations, they are managed by those who are not the owners. So usually the stockholders or the shareholders, they will appoint the managers who are considered the agents to manage their business. So the agents will is considered the managers of the business, or are the considers the agent who are hired by the principals or the shareholders to manage the business. So those who are the CEOs, the CFOs, or the board of the directors, they actually playing the role of an agent of the shareholders, who are the shareholders are the owner of the business. So now there is a conflict where whether this agent, the management, like the CEO or the CFO or the board of the directors, whether they will work for the best interest of the shareholders, who are the or the best interest of their principals, who are the shareholders. So here is the issue. So in order to make sure that the agents who are the management of the company, they work for the best interest of the shareholders, there are some laws and also some standards or ethical practices to ensure uh, that the agents, they work for the best interest of their principals. So first comes the fiduciary law. So it is a law which is under the company law, which defines the fiduciary duty. So it is a in a financial sense, exists to ensure that those who manage other people's money act in their beneficiaries' interests rather than serving their own interests. So this is a duty that ensures that advocates that those who work on behalf of others, those who handle someone else's money or business, they act for the best interests of their beneficiaries rather than serving their own interests. And this is the fiduciary duty which is mentioned in the Malaysian Company Law. So here the law says those who are the company directors, who are the board of the directors of a company, they must act in the best interest of for the company. So they must do what is best for the company, not what is best for themselves. Not to place himself or herself in a position where there is a conflict between their duty to the company and his personal interests or duties of others. So they should not be in a situation, or they should not make a situation or place themselves in a situation where there is the conflict between his own interests and the company. For example, when giving an appointment to one of the employees, if that employee is the relative of the board of the director, so it can trigger the self-interest where maybe that employee is not having that kind of expertise or capabilities, but because he has a relationship with the board of the directors, he's appointed. So here is the issue of uh, giving priority to self-interest arises. Okay, and then not to make any secret profit out of the position and the directors. So that directors, they should not abuse their position uh, to make secret profit for themselves. So sometimes they can take profit because of their position. They are the directors, so they can um, sometimes, for example, to give certain contract to some subcontractors, and then they get money through backdoor because they are the board of the directors. So it is an offense. And in that case, we can see they are not giving the priority, they are not serving the interest of the company or the shareholders. So uh, as we can see recently in Malaysia or in some other countries where there are many cases of the corporate crimes and offenses, and most of the board of the directors, they have been caught because of this violence of the fiduciary duty. So now the law does not always serve or the law is not always sufficient to deter people from doing these kind of illegal activities or to violating the fiduciary duties. Or sometimes we need to make an approach that we need to stop this kind of cheating before it happens. So in order to do that, we have professional standards, ethics, or best practices. So these are the practices that if we follow these, so it will save the board of the directors to even go close to the violation of the fiduciary duties. As I said, the law is the borderline. So the law is not enough to stop someone to uh, do this kind of crimes. So with the law, we also need some kind of standards or best practices or ethics or code of conduct, so that will give us what is the best thing to do in certain situation, and then how can we stop something something before it happens. So in order to understand the professional standards, we just need to little bit go back of the background of this wealth management and financial advisors as a background. So this profession of financial advisory, the wealth management is not old. It is new concept, and most of the governing bodies are in USA. And the first body, the organization, the association was established in 1969, International Association of Financial Planning, which was formed in 1969 to promote wealth management, conduct educational and training programs for members, and to promote ethical conduct among practitioners. So this was the first association of the financial planners, which was in 1969 in US. Now, in the context of the education in the US as well, The Institute of Certified Financial Planners was formed in 1973, and later the American College created the Master of Science in Financial Services, and then which was later awarded the Chartered Financial Consultant. So that was the history of education of this field of wealth management and wealth advisory. Now, in the context of Malaysia, actually, the uh, this profession of wealth advisory or financial planner came through the insurance institutes. So in Malaysia, the proper training was started in 1990s when Malaysian Insurance Institute brought a course called Life Underwriter Training Council fellowship program to conduct, and under that program there was a module called Fundamentals of Financial Services, where they started teaching this financial advisory program. And later, this Malaysian Insurance Institute brought the American College's Chartered Financial Consultant program into Malaysia from the US. So there they taught more extensively on wealth management. And then wealth management came into Malaysia only in the late 90s, although insurance agents called themselves financial advisors, financial planners, and financial consultants. So as we see even now, many they call themselves financial advisors or planners. But recently, the Bank Negara has given a ruling on who can call themselves as financial advisors. However, in the past, especially the insurance agents, they used to call themselves financial planners or financial advisors, which was not actually right. So, and then later, even the unit trusts, those who um, are the agents in unit trust companies, when unit trusts became popular, their agents also called themselves financial planners, while that is also not right because they are not giving uh, that a fully a financial planning service. Rather, they are only an agent for investment. Now, in the context of the association or governing bodies, in 1999, the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia was formed, and then the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants was established in 1984. The Malaysian affiliate of this International Association of Registered Financial Consultants was set up in 2001 to promote the registered financial consultants in this region. So when it was a concern to have registered financial consultants, while many are calling themselves as financial consultants or advisors. So when there was a concern to have some registered financial consultants, so it started from 2001 through the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants in Malaysia. And then finally, in 2004, the Malaysian Financial Planning Council was formed, and that was their focus was to give the registered financial planners designation. So since then, the MII, the Malaysian Insurance Institute, no longer provides education and certification on the Chartered Financial Consultant designation. So right now, this MFPC, the Malaysian Financial Council, is giving two designations. One is the Registered Financial Planner, and the second one is the Sharia Registered Financial Planner. So this Sharia Registered Financial Planner is very important for Islamic wealth management students to have this certificate in order to provide us wealth planning services. And this is a short course should be taken, and after then there is an exam, and even some can go directly to exam without taking any preparation course. Now, The ethics and conduct, code of conducts which are promoted by this financial planning association in Malaysia, they are the most to in order to inculcate the best practices among the wealth planners. So these are the summary of those the ethics and uh, professional responsibilities that those who are providing these wealth management services, they must have integrity, that they must be sincere with their duty. They must have objectivity without giving partial to anyone. They must have competence because they are handling people's wealth, so they must have the competence, the skills. They should be fair to all the customers, to all the shareholders, and they must have confidentiality, means they keep uh, the privacy of their clients, and they should not abuse the information that they got from their clients. That's why they should be professionalism. They should not be emotional, and they should not act with someone uh, because of his background, because of their background in a different way. And finally, they should be diligence, means they should give a proper care on the customer's wealth, and to decide on any investment or anything. And with that, I also would like to highlight that the Islamic Code of Conduct, which is also very important for Islamic or Sharia uh, financial planners. And we can see that the Sharia also tells us to be knowledgeable. Even as Imam Ash-Shafi'i said, if we want the dunya, we need knowledge. If we want the hereafter, also we need knowledge. And this is something amanah. In order to fulfill, we must be knowledgeable. We must be knowledgeable on investment. We must be knowledgeable on all, for example, the faraid, the zakat calculation, and others. In order to give this service, we must be sincere, ikhlas, that what we are doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And uh, we must be truthful, as-sidq, as the hadith said, the as-sidqu yunji, that truthfulness is protects us, and wal kidhbu yuhlik, and uh, lies, they actually kill us. Amanah, trustworthiness, so that is the most important, the principle that uh, all the wealth advisors should have. And what we have discussed about the fiduciary duties and all actually come under the one concept of this amana, where someone is trustworthy. If he is given any trust, he fulfills it. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a person does not have any religion who does not have amana. He does not have any faith. And excellence, the Islam also talks that we should be excellent in our actions, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves someone who does something with excellence. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribes excellence in everything, even when we slaughter an animal. And finally, accountability, that all of us are accountable. Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulin an ra'yatihi, that all of us, we have a responsibility, and we will be questioned, we will be asked in the day of judgment. So all should have this mentality that what we have been doing, even though no one is seeing it, we are finally accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then with these conducts of best practices, there are also some regulatory controls other than the Company Act, especially in the case of Islamic wealth management services. There are Capital Markets and Services Act 2007, Central Bank of Malaysia Act 2009, Financial Services Act 2013, and then Islamic Financial Services Act 2013. So which is giving rules for the operation of Islamic banks and also takaful institutions. And then there is Insurance Act 1996, and finally the Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities in 2001. So that was so you call it AMLA, which is also applicable to all the wealth management services and all the financial institutions. So now let's see how the regulation works. So under the Ministry of Finance in Malaysia, there are two organizations. First is the Bank Negara Malaysia that regulates the Islamic banks, the wealth and takaful institutions, as well as the wealth management service providers or financial advisory service providers. At the same time, we have Securities Commission Malaysia that regulates the fund management companies, which are mostly related to investments and also other listed Sharia uh, or other listed companies as a halal shares. So they are regulated under the Securities Commission. Even the crowdfunding platforms also registered under the Securities Commission. So now, under the Bank Negara, there is a requirement for the financial advisor. So any one or any company, so this is mostly in a company's operation. So if any company that wants to register as financial advisors or the financial advisory services providers, as we can see, there are many wealth management services companies in Malaysia. So these companies they must be registered. They should have a license under the Insurance Act. Yeah, that is interesting. So these all the wealth management companies or the service providers, they are licensed under the Insurance Act. And they are considered as a new category of intermediaries. And these companies, they should have a minimum paid up capital of 100,000 and should be controlled by the Malaysians. They should be the majority, the Malaysian. So this 100,000 is just to ensure that the company has their interests or there is a backup that the company does not go into water in a few days after taking the money from their clients. And they also have a minimum professional indemnity insurance of 200,000, means that if there is any violation so this insurance can cover the loss to the clients, and this license should be renewed annually. And requirements for financial advisors. So the financial advisors is also subject to other requirements such as the changes in shareholding, approval for appointment of CEO and directors. So they should follow the Company Act as well as other regulations by Bank Negara. And the representatives of the financial advisors, actually who are the people who will act as financial advisors, they must be approved by Bank Negara and have specific qualifications required by BNM. So those who are call themselves as financial advisors, they must have some qualifications and they get licensed, and they should have passed the Sharia registered financial planner or the registered financial planner certificate from under the um, Malaysian Association of Financial Planners Council. And finally, as the Bank Negara's regulation said, the use of financial advisor is restricted only to those awarded the license. So here, Bank Negara is quite clear on that those who have the qualification to give financial advisory services, they can call themselves a financial advisor rather than those who are the insurance agent or unit trust agents. They may no longer be able to call themselves as financial advisor. However, maybe some financial advisors, they also can be uh, uh, takaful agent or unit trust agent if they have the capability to do so. So these are so after the Bank Negara, this is the Securities Commission in Malaysia. They also have a guideline for fund management companies. Of course, fund management companies, they are not providing wealth management services, but they are part of it because they doing the investment. They are investing the wealth on behalf of their clients. So it is also partly related to wealth management. So I'm also showing you what are the guidelines by the Securities Commission on the companies that manage the fund of their clients. So they also come with the almost similar to what is developed by the Malaysian Association of financial planners. Like, for example, it talks about integrity. The fund management company must conduct its business with integrity. They must be sincere on their actions, and then they must have skill, care, and diligence. They must have the expertise. They must appoint a fund manager who has experience, who have enough background or education on that field, and they must also uh, have care on the investment and acting in clients' interests. So the fund management company, they must work for the best interest of the clients. They must make sure in which way the client can get the best profit following the Sharia, and not to just invest in any risky investment that can lead to loss of the client's assets. They should be have a supervision and control. The fund management company must take a reasonable care to organize and control its affairs responsibly and effectively with adequate risk management and supervisory system. So the companies, they must have a proper risk management department and also supervisory system, so that there is no violation due to people or the system. They should have adequate resources. They should have enough human in terms of people. They should have expert, and then they should have uh, other resources in terms of the data, for example, in order to invest. Business conduct: a fund management company must conduct its business in a manner that promotes a fair and orderly market. So it's just they have to follow the customary practice, what is we call in uh, Sharia is al-urf and ada. So they act in a way which is decent, which follows the custom of business. And they client asset protection. They must ensure that the client assets are protected, safeguarded at all times. So they must have a proper risk management and planning for investment, and they should have a good communication with investors and clients. So they must give them their annual report, and they must update them on the investment updates, what is going on. So they must give a timely report to their clients. And finally, the conflict of interest. So if a fund management company must manage conflict of interest fairly, both between itself and its employees and clients. So if they have any conflict of interest, for example, one type of products or business that is not in the best for the best interest of the clients, but for maybe they have the company management has a he didn't have an interest on that. So in that case, they have to um, uh, manage it. They have to clarify it. And if there is such case, they must take the approval from the clients. So now, with that, also they have the compliance culture. The board of directors, in order to mitigate the risk, they must have proper rules and regulation, and that they should make sure that there is a compliance culture. The fund managers, the agents, they follow the rules. And dealing with the security commission, so the fund management companies must give cooperation, so that if there is any audit, they give cooperation on a timely manner. And then those who are the Islamic fund management companies, for example, we have public mutual, they are the fund management companies or mutual funds, and they also have Sharia compliant investment platform. So there is a guideline from the Securities Commission that they must first is that they must appoint a registered Sharia advisor. So if you can go to the website of the Securities Commission Malaysia, you can see there is a list of the registered Sharia advisors. Means that these are the Sharia advisors. They are approved by the Securities Commission of Malaysia. So the fund management companies have to take one from this list as their Sharia advisor. And second, the fund management company should appoint a compliance officer who will be a full-time officer who is well versed of Islam on Islamic fund management. He has experience and knowledge to manage the Islamic fund, and must ensure that its investment activities are limited to Sharia compliant investment. So they make sure that they only invest in Sharia compliant shares or in sukuk or Islamic money market instrument, and then should maintain all accounts with Islamic financial institutions. So these fund management companies, they make sure that all their money they put in a Islamic banks account, in an Islamic account, like Wadiah account, not in a conventional bank's account. And then should undertake appropriate Sharia approved risk management techniques. So they must also have uh, either a risk management officer or Sharia review officer in order to make sure that there is no violation of the Sharia. And they should have disclosure and declaration if there is any non-halal income, how that income is purified, and they should conduct internal audit and also probably the Sharia audit in order to see whether there is any violation. And finally, those who companies that have both Islamic and conventional investment platform, so they must segregate, means they must separate the Islamic funds, okay, so that there is no commingling, there's no mixture of the Islamic fund with the conventional fund. They must make it clear. So that's what was the requirement for the fund management companies under. So now this is the final regulation that is very important to all the financial institutions in Malaysia, especially from 2000. So this Anti-Money Laundering and Anti-Terrorism Financing Act, which actually changes. There are a lot of changes or that come in terms of the procedures of financial institutions after this law. So what is this money laundering? To make it simple, this money laundering is if someone has a gain from unlawful activities, from corruption or whatsoever, and in order to make their money clean, they just put it into the banking system, so that people think that, or it appears that this money is has come from legal sources. So that is called money laundering. It's a process to clean the unlawful money, or the money that is gained from unlawful activities, and it is a process to make it look like it is a clean money. It is earned from a legitimate source. So, Anti-Money Laundering Act ensures that there is no unlawful income is entered into the system or into the banking system. So that is the act of this anti-money laundering. So similarly with the terrorism financing, so it is a financing for terrorism. Maybe this money is gained from a legitimate way, but the money is paid to assist terrorism or any kind of activities, especially after the 9/11. This act uh, came into legislation in different countries of the world to stop terrorism financing. So now, what are these anti-terrorism AMLA, or anti-money laundering and terrorism financing access? So this is the summary of this. that first is the compliance with laws. So there are regulations by Bank Negara, Securities Commission. So all the financial institutions, even though wealth management companies, they must comply with the laws. Actually, they came with one principle is called know your customer. Means you learn your customer well, his background, and what is his source of income. That is the most important question that the financial institutions will ask when there is a big amount. If I'm not mistaken, in the case of Malaysia, if there is a deposit of more than 15,000, so then the bank wants the client to clarify from what is the source of the income. So cooperate with the law enforcement agencies if the law enforcement agencies want to investigate the banks or financial institutions need to cooperate, and they should all the financial institutions, they should have internal controls in order to make sure that there is no illegal money coming into the system, and they should have a risk-based approach. Means that they should establish practices and procedures that will stop the things before it happens, and should have customer due diligence. So the employees of the financial institutions, they need to give care, and they need to spend time on to look at the customer's profile and their background and the source of income. Should keep the record for all the transactions in case it needs to investigate. And finally, if there is any suspicious transactions, if the financial institution sees that somebody has a lot of income which is suspicious, they must report to the enforcement agencies. So this is general principles that we can learn from this AMLA. The financial advisory services, they also need to know, and that they are also not helping their customers to legitimate their illegal income. So that's all on the financial regulations. So again, to sum up, uh, for wealth management is a very important uh, place which requires a lot of trust, because the customers who have a lot of money, they are sharing their wealth, and they are asking your advice, and also sometimes they are giving their money to you as a financial advisor. So it has a big trust. So we must make sure that we act for the best interest of the clients, and we have already discussed all uh, the laws, and as well as the best practices. And as to summarize, if we follow the Sharia principles, the concept of amanah, so it will all will be clear to all of us. So uh, with that, I thank all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.